Hey everybody, Keenan from Airplane here, and today we're going to be looking at how to edit your cron tab. We're going to talk a little bit about cron jobs, what they are, what the cron tab is, and how it controls the cron jobs that are running on your system. If you want more dev tips like this one, head over to the Airplane blog at airplane.dev/blog, and we'll also link the written form of this video down in the description below. Let's get started. Here we have what's called our cron tab. Our cron tab is a file that controls a system utility called cron. And if you don't know what cron is, it's a utility that runs on most Unix-like systems. That includes Linux and as well as Mac operating systems that basically lets users schedule tasks to run. So in this example here, we have our system set up to run our send newsletter script every week. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we interpret this left half of the statement here. But basically, cron is very useful for doing things like sending recurring reminders, sending out emails that have to happen on a certain schedule, running system maintenance that should be performed at the same time, daily, weekly, etc. And the cron tab is this text-based file that we can set up to control how these tasks are scheduled and run. The 07**1 syntax is what trips a lot of people up with cron and is a little bit confusing. But once you understand what each of the pieces of that expression is doing, it can become a lot easier to look through. So for example, in this case, we have our 5 variables here that each control one piece of the cron expression. So the first 0 determines what minute of the hour our schedule will run. So the options are anywhere from 0 to 59. We have 0 in our cron expression, which means it will run at the very beginning of the hour. Our second variable here is a 7, which means it will run in the 7th hour of the day. So in this case, 7 a.m. We have a star or a wildcard character for the day of our month, which means our expression will be able to run on any day of the month. And the same thing for which month of the year. Because we have a wildcard character, it can run any month of the year. And our final variable is the day of the week. We have a 1 in here, so that means it will run on Monday. So put all together, this 07**1 syntax means that our cron job will run at 7 a.m. every Monday. So for some people, that syntax is very easy to memorize and it makes sense. But if it doesn't, there is a tool called crontab.guru that's able to help. So you can see here that we have a similarly looking cron expression to what we were just looking at. But the nice thing about this tool is it translates it to more plain text with what is actually going to happen. So if we put our cron that we saw from before in here, it will also highlight which variable we're currently editing. So we have 07**1, and it will tell us, like we just said, that this command runs at 7 o'clock every Monday. It will also tell us that the next run is going to be on May 1st. So this allows you to have a little cheat sheet down here with what values you can put in these variables. It has these underneath to tell you which variable you're actually editing, and then it also translates your cron to plain text. So if we wanted to run a job on Friday instead, you could see that as we adjust this variable here, it tells us when our cron job is going to run. So if we bump that up to 5, let's adjust it to 10 o'clock on Friday. So now that we have this cron expression, we need to insert it into our cron tab so that our system will run it at the specified time. If we jump back over to the command line, we can type crontab-e for edit. And when you press enter, your console will open your cron tab in your default text editor for your system. In some cases, this might be Vim. The default text editor on my system is Nano. So it's open here, and we can see our command from before is in here. So if we wanted to introduce a new command, say to run a script called reminders, we could take our syntax from crontab.guru and paste it into our cron tab here. And then the second piece of this is which command we want to run. So let's say we have that script called reminders.sh. And then we can exit our text editor, making sure that we save our changes. And you'll notice here that it says installing new cron tab, which means it's updating the cron tab with the changes you just put in. And now the new command you just added will run at the scheduled time. Cron is a great way to run simple tasks on your individual system. However, if you're part of a team and need to collaborate with others on running those tasks, seeing the output of them, and more, you might want to consider a tool like Airplane. Airplane allows you to take tasks you might run on your system cron and put them in a cloud environment where other people from your team can access them. In addition, scheduling can be much more straightforward than trying to remember the cron syntax or even using a tool like crontab.guru. If you have a task already configured in Airplane, such as we want to back up our database every week, we can select that and choose from this either simple syntax where we could say every week, Monday at 7 a.m. to kind of mirror what we have in our cron tab. Or if we already are familiar with the cron syntax and we're porting over from some other system, we can do that with cron as well. Once this is set up, our Airplane task will run on our given schedule. Airplane tasks are very flexible. They can be SQL queries, REST API calls, Python scripts, JavaScript files, or even shell scripts. So no matter what you're porting into Airplane, you can run it as an Airplane task. And you can run it on a schedule, just like you would with your local cron. If you're interested in getting started with a better way to run scheduled tasks, head over to airplane.dev and sign up for a free account today.